Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you very much, President Vivian. I have the honor and privilege to introduce our guest speaker this afternoon, who, by the way, is not unknown to many of our members of the Zonta Club of Makati because she served as a member of the panel of judges of our Bravo Awards last year. Anyway, Cherrie Atilano is the founder and CEO of Agrea, Agricultural Systems International Incorporated, a for-purpose and inclusive business that is creating the first replicable one-island economy that is zero hunger, zero waste, and zero insufficiency. Agrea aims to help eradicate poverty for farming and fishing families in order to alleviate the effects of climate change and establish food security in the Philippines, targeting to help 4.5 million smallholder farmers. The company is working with farmers through agripreneurship, agri-tech, and agritourism, creating sustainable and diversified source of income to bring ecology of dignity. Cherrie started teaching farmers at the age of 12, has 22 years of vast experience in sustainable food systems, from organizing smallholder farmers into sustainable cooperatives, technology transfer, and developing inclusive agribusiness. She graduated at the top of her class, magna cum laude at Visayas State University, with a BS in agriculture, major in horticulture, specializing in tissue culture. Cherrie is a recipient of the Outstanding Women in the Nation Service Award in 2016, Inspiring Filipina Entrepreneur in 2017, first awardee of Women of the Future Social Entrepreneur in Southeast Asia, and the Outstanding Men and Women of the Philippines 2018. Cherrie also led Agrea in winning the UN Global Compact, the Global Responsible Business Award 2017 for Agriculture Excellence, and the 4th ASEAN Rural Poverty Eradication Leadership Awards in 2019. She has been recently appointed by UN Secretary General Antonio Gutierrez as a high-level ambassador of the United Nations, Scaling Up Nutrition. Cherrie is also an advisory board member of the World Bank Solutions for Youth Employment and a sustainability expert of the World Economic Forum Sustainability Initiative. Cherrie also recently joined the 2020 class of the Young Global Leaders, the World Economic Forum's Foundation for Remarkable Leaders Under 40. She was also appointed as a board member of the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition based in Geneva, Switzerland. My fellow Assumptions, our speaker, Cherrie Atilano.
Thank you so much, Tita Olive, for a very warm welcome in Zonta. And thank you so much, Vivian Oy, for the invitation and everyone here in the room. This is actually my first time to give a talk in Zonta, and I'm so pleased to be part of your Bravos Award last year. It's such an honor when Tita Olive called me to present to you right now, but more than an honor is for Zonta as a leading women organization in a country to actually have a conscious decision to discuss the importance of women in agriculture. Before I go to my presentation, I would like to request Patty to share a video done by the World Economic Forum on our work during the pandemic. Thank you so much for watching that video. Actually, that video was done by the World Economic Forum in honor of our work in the Philippines. Because during the lockdown, it's just so happened that the country is having harvest season. You know, it's going to have our summer harvest, and the farmers have nowhere to go for their produce. So right now, I will be sharing to you a bit about our work first in Agrea before I go on the real topic on the importance of women in agriculture. Just let me know if I speak so fast or if I don't speak louder. So Agrea actually is very woman led. Of course, I founded Agrea, but at the same time it's agriculture and Gaia, Mother Earth. So Gaia is the Greek word for Mother Earth or environment, because most of the time when you say about agriculture and environment, they're actually most of like an enemy. The more you plant food, the more you destroy the environment. But actually, it could have not been the process. We also believe in ecology of dignity as a tagline of our company, because for the longest time, the producers of the food in the food chain, who are the farmers and the fishermen, are the poorest and the hungriest of all. Somehow it's a crime against humanity, and we need to fix that problem. I put here in my screen that investing in women is actually an investment to the whole community. This is very important for us. For sure, Zonta has been doing a lot of projects in women in the Philippines, right? However, a lot of farming communities are actually suffering in terms of support. Not much given to women in the agriculture sector, even if they are actually the ones mostly producing our food. There's not much recognition. So the photo here is actually in our rice field in Marinduque. We have 500 hectares of rice fields that we're working with smallholder farmers, and these are some members of my team. We're all pretty young because we're trying to bring a lot of young people in agriculture. um, in the Philippine context right now, this is what's happening with our farmers. Our farmers are poor, aging, with very low educational attainment. So this is somehow a big problem. In the Philippines, our average age of farmers is 57. By 2020, they said it's 58. Give them 10 years from now, there's no one who will actually go to the field and plant for our food. And our population is insatiably growing. We have a total of 106 million people now in the country. And I always believe in this Polish proverb: when the farmer is poor, so is the whole country. This is very, very true. Just to give you a little bit of background, I grew up in a sugarcane farm in Negros Occidental, in Silay, because my father used to own a sugarcane farm. And however, I lost him when I was only 3 years old. And it's such a very, very bad condition in our family, because once you lost the breadwinner of your family, it seems you're going to lose everything, and that's what happened. However, because of my mother, I think I became who am I now, because of one strongest woman in my life was my mom, who really makes sure on how we can actually go to school, how we can also help our neighbors, and how we can still continue running the small sugarcane farm left for the family. And I was so in love and fascinated in terms of how our Philippine actually is a very, very beautiful country. You have membership all over the country, and there's such much privilege in how to develop all these possible opportunities and wealth we have. We have an archipelago, of course, of 7,107 islands with beautiful rice fields, beautiful seas, beautiful waters. However, those rice fields are full of hungry and poor farmers. Those beautiful beaches are full of hungry and poor fishermen. So what's also the problem of being an archipelago, like our setting in the Philippines? We usually tend to import a lot of food in different islands, and also a lot of trading is happening, which is good. Unfortunately, though, some of the islands are not actually food producers. Some of the islands are just waiting for supply of food. It's because of our agricultural national plan that is so broken. there's not much coherent plan for Philippine agriculture in terms of food security. So everyone is so dependent on the importation inter-island as well as importation from other countries. With this pandemic, actually, I had a discussion with the Secretary of Agriculture last time when I conducted a webinar. We only have rice good for 2 months this year. And in terms of garlic, we are actually negative 343 days of garlic. It means there's no garlic in the Philippines produced by farmers. All the garlic right now are actually, coming from somewhere else. And this is how we actually work in our company. We believe that doing good means also good business sense. And somehow running an agricultural company is not easy. It's easy if you just want to focus on not sustainable ways, but if you want to focus on really impacting the farmers and the fishermen socially, protecting the environment and still getting a great business return is something that is really like a wall to climb every day. And at the same time, we're also trying to effect policy change in the country. So a lot of our work actually in Agrea are reported to the government, especially to the Congress, and some of them are basis for agricultural reforms in the country. So this is basically our company. Our vision is to create a one island. It's because Philippines as a whole is so hard to develop in terms of food security when you focus on Luzon alone. Mindanao is also a food basket, and other islands are also like possible food baskets of the country. We do the one island economy. We're actually doing it first in the island of Marinduque. I'm not from Marinduque, but it's such a beautiful island to start 6 years ago when I started Agrea. It's because it's a perfect size. It's the heart of the Philippines, and it's almost shaped like a heart. But after 5 years, the work that we're doing now is being replicated in Siargao Islands. So we're present in two major islands, and early this year, we also entered four more islands. We're entering Bohol, Palawan, Mindoro, and Bicol. So we believe that focusing on farmers as a starting point for change is very, very valuable. And this is how we actually empower our food producers in the Philippines, the farmer and their family and the entire community of farming. And we put this out, the farming is cool, smart, sexy, and humane. It's because, farming has always been a bad connotation for people. A lot of young people are leaving the farms because it's not cool, it's not humane, and it's not friendly. A lot of our farmers are dreaming for their children to get out of the farm and go to the city and look for jobs, not to go back to our countryside. And a lot of us are not really seeing agriculture as a good business. But I'm telling you that agriculture is the most lucrative business because feeding people, I think, is the most sustainable business. Just sharing you a bit on our operation. So we have Marinduque Islands. Just to share with you, it's because after pandemic, these are the projects that actually we've been focusing. So we have a farm school. Most of our work is actually focused on educating our farmers because our farmers are, aside from their endangered species, their average educational attainment is like a 10-year-old boy in school. So if you teach them all those agri-technology, farm tourism, it's not in their DNA to actually somehow understand it. It's so hard to teach new technologies from other countries, for example, or from different state universities and colleges in the Philippines because the farmers are not equipped with the right education. So we have a farm school in Marinduque Island. We were the first accredited farm school by the Department of Agriculture and TESDA. We produce more than 300 scholars already. And out of these 300 scholars, 92% are going back to their farm and farming. So we develop ginger and turmeric plantations. We do superfoods because we sell it to food processors, most especially to pharmaceutical companies and to companies that are processing ginger and turmeric capsules and powder. And we also do a lot of programs on organic colored rice. And this organic colored rice, I really put it here. It's because this is a women-led project that we have. 60% out of 250 farmers producing rice in the island of Marinduque are actually women. And these women are mostly unrecognized in terms of food production. In Siargao Island, we replicated our work in 2018 in Siargao Island because it was known as the number one island by Condé Nast survey, valuing to $1 billion industry. However, I told the congressman and the governor, no matter how $1 billion you are, if your people are starving, it's not making sense at all. So true enough, when we went to Siargao 2017 with the invitation of Mayor Sol Matugas, another woman leader, um, she said that Siargao farmers are actually not farming. They left the farming communities to be construction workers and habal-habal drivers for the booming tourism industry. And the people are starving. Every surfing season and summer from May to September, people there are starving. They couldn't afford food anymore because everything is imported and the price is in dollars because hundreds of thousands of tourists, or last 2018 they have almost 500,000 tourists actually in the island. So our ongoing projects in Siargao Island, we have a vegetable production. Our operations are all organic and natural farming. So we actually supply hotels and restaurants in Siargao. 187 hotels and restaurants in Siargao are somehow dependent in our operation. We also have put up a rice mill facility and a rice production facility of around 48 hectares. And we also have an organic pig facility there with 2,000 organic pigs, black pigs from Marinduque Island we transferred to Siargao. I'm sharing this Siargao scenario because I'm so proud of this approach. When we went to Siargao, we found out that all men are leaving the farms. They don't want to climb the coconut trees anymore because they said there's more money in driving tourists, as a habal-habal driver or a construction worker. So what happened to that is we tapped the women in Siargao Island, and right now the Siargao food production is actually um, with a leadership of around 800 women farmers in different towns of Siargao. The Siargao has 9 towns, and we have 800 women farmers around Siargao Islands. So hopefully with this women intervention in agriculture, you will see the importance that I think it's by nature of women that, they're very nurturing. The moment you teach them how to grow their food, they really sincerely, give importance to that. Another one, it's easy to do business, right? But at the same time, if your business is guided on sustainable development goals, there's something worth waking up every morning because there's something you're working on a global goal. And gender equality is actually here in our the fifth goal of SDG. Gender equality is something that we strongly measure in our company. It's because agriculture is a male-dominated industry. I remember growing up in Negros. You cannot attend conferences. I was 15 years old. I couldn't attend a conference because a room is full of men, and most of them are old hacienderos or sabongero, and if you're from Bacolod, you would understand the sabong culture. So I really couldn't enter in conferences in Bacolod. So what I usually do is I look for a very, very old man in the attendees. Then I approach that person and then I ask him, I really want to attend a conference and I'm only 15 years old, but I want to understand about agribusiness, agriculture, import and export and trade of sugar. And this old person, why are you interested? I said, I want to be a farmer. I want to be helping farmers when time comes. And for him to actually allow me to enter the conference, he needs to introduce me as his granddaughter, that he needs to go to the conference to remind him to take his medicine. So every time I would attend conference from 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old, I would always go to this old man and he will introduce me as his granddaughter and I will carry his medicine box so that I could enter conference. It was a struggle that I was experiencing since I was young in my teenager. But right now, the fight for gender equality and the value of women is still actually unheard of. There's a global demand now dictated by World Bank and UN to even increase the participation and recognition of women in agriculture at least 30% by 2030. But I think it's not enough because, women, when you teach them how to plant, they really make sure it will grow because it goes to feeding their family, and whatever yung sobra, they will sell and it's a business. Our focus is on sustainable agriculture and livelihoods through entrepreneurship. And most of our leaders in our farming communities and fishing communities are women. They are so easy to teach in terms of financial literacy because they're the ones budgeting at their home. And they're so easy to teach about new technologies and in agriculture because they feel that they're like women farmer scientists, and they really value it highly. uh, Aside from all the work that we do, we focus on climate resilient farming approach, and in this area actually of our work, because it's more superfoods focused, we found this area in Marinduque, which is actually common in different provinces in the Philippines. We planted a lot of coconut trees, and every time there's typhoon, 20 to 30 coconut trees will fall on the ground and farmers will lose their income. So what happened to that? We surveyed Marinduque, and right now we have 60 hectares of coconut plantations with intercrop of turmeric and ginger under the coconut trees, and it's very, very successful. We're like harvesting, 500,000 kilos of turmeric and ginger under, and it's really a good source of income for our farmers. For the coconuts, this is a very beautiful story because a lot of men are drinking tuba. They harvest the tuba and they drink the tuba and they go home drunk and usually impregnate their wife. After 9 months, there's another child. In farming communities, there's like one family in Siargao that they have 18 children. And the other family in Socorro, it's another island, a part of Siargao. One has 17 children, and their husbands are coconut farmers. Because they're always drunk, they go home and make their wife pregnant. So what happened to that is we need to make them busy. So all the men, instead of selling tuba, we utilize their land and make it productive. So this is a beautiful and the first in the Philippines to have an intercropping in a massive way, a new technology introduced to farmers. When there's typhoon and they don't have harvest from coconut, at least they have harvest from ginger and turmeric, and these are high value crops. Ginger alone during this COVID shoots up to 285 per kilo. So it means the farmers are really earning a lot. Look at this picture. In my presentation, I have these two wonderful women in the farming communities. I call all of them nanay. So these nanays are amazing. They plant the turmeric and then they really make sure it's clean. And they're also like the best quality controller in the farming communities. No bias to men, but sometimes when you give, men the job of cleaning and sorting, um, it's not as high quality as the women. The women really make sure that good quality of turmeric will go in a sack and it goes to a pharmaceutical company in Laguna. And these products here in the presentation are actually done also by our women. So aside from planting, we encourage them to develop value addition products. So we have coconut sugar. If you go to Bose Coffee, we supply all branches of Bose Coffee all over the Philippines for coconut sugar because it's healthy, zero glycemic. It's good for diabetes. And we also have turmeric powder. We have a lot of products from virgin coconut oil to coconut jam to honey to achara. These are all made by women farmers, including the basket there. It's woven by our women farmers in the farming community. So you see the importance of women. It's not just on the production, but really on lahat ng kaartihan sa farm, I must tell you. From basket weaving, they're very madiskarte. The women would always approach me na, Ma'am Cherrie, marunong kami gumawa ng basket. Mag-design ka ng basket. Ma'am Cherrie, marunong kami gumawa ng atsara. Tikman mo yung atsara. Marunong kami gumawa ng peanut butter. Pwede bang bilhan mo kami ng malaking kawa? Gagawa kami ng peanut butter. women are always madiskarte. And women, I must say that they are game changer in really, putting more value in agriculture. But aside from that, the hard to catch the women to participate in agriculture is actually investing on the education of their children. So we have programs on donating garden classrooms to public elementary schools. So right now we have 45 public elementary schools that have garden classrooms. So we build gardens in their school, and the produce of the gardens actually go to their feeding program. And most of the students, they bring the produce back to their home that they could share with their family. And some of them, the school sells the produce to add up to their feeding program, at the same time to the some Christmas party or activities at school. We also focused on the youth in the agriculture sector, because when the farmers are aging, who will actually continue the work? So in the other picture, these are actually 400 youth leaders in Mindoro that we trained to be the next agriculture leaders of their country. And President Barack Obama recognized this work in 2015. He invited me in the White House to actually fund this program for the last 4 years. And we trained more than 1,000 youth, including Muslim youth in Mindanao. They flew from Mindanao to our farm, and then they immersed in my farm and learned farming. And right now, I'm happy to say that we have around 5 halal farms in Mindanao. They converted the women there, they converted their evacuation center to be, their vegetable farms and also their corn farms. This is also a report of gender in our farm school. I was sharing to you a while ago that our farm school is actually designing curriculums that are gender friendly. It's also designing curriculums that are friendly for people who don't know how to read and write. Wala akong pakialam pag hindi ka marunong magsulat at magbasa, you will learn how to farm. You will learn how to feed your family. You will learn how to grow your own food. And if you see in the first circle, 55.97% of graduates in our farm school are actually women. That's why our farm school is the number one farm school in the Philippines, and we have the highest returns in terms of implementation, because once the women are taught, they really bring it to their home and implement it. This is one of our graduations in the farm. If you see, a lot of youth are there and a lot of women and mothers. In this picture, I could cite 5 cancer survivors. They actually enrolled in our farm school because their mission in life is to survive cancer, and they want to teach the women in their barangay to actually grow their own healthy food. So it's the repercussion and the replication effect is actually growing and growing. I put this picture. This is Tatay Pilo. He's so close to my heart because right now he could stand straight. When I started Agrea 6 years ago in Marinduque, I met this person. He's the most bullied in the barangay. He every weekend they drop Tate Pilo in a canal, and no hospital would actually accept him because he has no money, he cannot afford to pay the hospital bills, and he has no source of livelihood. So I asked him to help build this vermicomposting facility. This vermicomposting facility was sponsored by New Zealand Embassy. It it produces 1 ton of organic fertilizer every month that we use in our farms, in our model farm, and also we sell to other farmers. I shared Tatay Pilo because um, he is such a wonderful person, and he teaches a lot of women in Barangay Kawit in Marinduque. Most of the women there, every afternoon, they just play tong its and mahjong, mostly tong its and chika chika and gossip left and right. So what happened to that, Tatay Pilo invited them to actually enroll in our farm school and learn how to do organic, fertilizer. So right now, we've been selling a lot of organic fertilizer because of this Tatay Pilo, and because of those women who stop tong its every afternoon. They go to our farm and they help making the organic fertilizer for their additional income. Um, I think one of the most beautiful part of our work for women in agriculture and men is capacitating farmers to dream for nation building. Because, I always say that I think Philippines we really deserve to grow our own food and being, resilient in the process. Like, for example, the pandemic, all the borders are closed and nothing really is happening. So we always teach our farmers to dream what's their dream for themselves and what's their dream for their family, up to what's their dream for our country. And the most beautiful part that I'm actually working this year is the policy. We're working this with the UP College of Law. We're submitting a Magna Carta of rural women in the Congress, because there's a huge problem even in land titling in the Philippines in agrarian reforms. Most of the land titles are under the name of their husband. So even though the husband is lasinggero, nananakit sa kanila, they couldn't get out from that home because they have nowhere to go and the land is under their husband, even though, they've been tilling that land forever. So right now we're fighting for that rights, and we're also fighting for more support for women farmers. And hopefully this Magna Carta of Rural Women will be submitted this year in support to Magna Carta of Women in the Philippines. So College of Law of UP is actually helping us. And we also launched this program of More Love for Women Farmers in Siargao, where 800 women farmers attended. And right now, 500 of them got a scholarship in Agrea Farm School with support of TESDA. However, work is so beautiful and it's all ongoing, even the pandemic, because we're both in different islands. However, during this pandemic, I would just share that the threat of hunger is as real as the threat of COVID-19. I think every one of us experienced it. And one night, I had a call from a pineapple farmer in Tanay Rizal telling me that, Ma'am, can you please help me? I have 16,000 pineapple to sell, and this is for the graduation of my daughter, and I borrowed money from the bank to actually plant this pineapple. And I told him, okay, I will help you to sell pineapple, but there are a dozen of checkpoints from Antipolo to my house in Makati where I can sell your pineapple, and we need to figure out our way. So it's like a national operation of food security that your hands are tied on a chair and you don't know what to do. So I've been calling military officers to allow us to bring the food. And to make the story short, we made it happen. So the video that we watched today is actually a product from one pineapple farmer. Now we have like more than 8,000 farmers help in the last 3.5 months. So we also brought 164,000 fruits and vegetables in Metro Manila. As of this data is actually as of June 14 data. And we also help around 8,331 Filipino farmers in the platform. So we've been shipping a lot of produce all the way from Mindanao to Metro Manila because there are no import transaction happening. And the farmers are also left with nowhere to sell their produce. Restaurants and hotels are all closed. So we kind of help them. From 8,331 farmers, we donate food to community kitchens, feeding more than 4,594 frontliners in different hospitals from PGH to Philippine Heart Center to we also supply food to Women Correctional. For the last month, we supplied around 4 tons of vegetables and fruits to them. And we also supply food to mental hospital and Bilibid prison. And this work actually, we actually delivered goods to 68,427 families in the Philippines, and 60% of these people are actually indigents. I think some of you contributed to this. I heard a lot of titas in Forbes, in Ordoneta, in Dasma, in Ayala Alabang donated on how to feed some of the indigents around your area. So what happened to that is most of those initiatives that I mentioned are actually because of mostly women who make it easier in the process. From shipping the goods from Mindanao, it's the women who's making it happen. Look at this pomelo in the picture. There are like 800 kilos of the pomelo rotting. And the following day, there were like 5 tons of pomelo rotting on their fields, and we shipped all of them in Manila, and we sold them in just 2 days. And we also put up a store which is managed by most women. We selected some women who works in restaurants that got closed because we know that they can tend their store better. So we have a store in Salcedo Market. And we created a lot of food drives. So for example, this Tomato Hero Drive, the most beautiful help that we got is from Margarita Forest. All the Chibo sauces are actually supported by us. We supplied them with our tomato. Rica Binca Flor of Tirica, all the tomatoes that she's been used for cooking. All of this are empowered by women. The dragon fruit ladies in Region 2 are actually helping us to bring dragon fruit. The mangoes from Cagayan de Oro and Guimaras are from with women farmers who are trying to help their communities. And we also set up some markets. In these pictures, we have some Miss Universe volunteering. I'm in the middle. I'm not Miss Universe. So, but some the two ladies in the picture are like Miss Universe to be like volunteering on running a rolling store. So every Sunday and Saturday we have stores in Acacia Estates, and we also have stores in some areas in Loyola Heights, in Katipunan. Um, Aside from that, the most remarkable, I guess, is how women, can actually do value addition. So, lahat na lang ng kaartihan, grabe. This one is we made strawberry jams because Benguet farmers are having a hard time selling their strawberries. In the middle, we supplied so many gift packs in baskets. The baskets are from Bicol and Sorsogon. The women weavers, they sent their baskets for us to use to be the baskets for gift giving of several private companies who want to give gifts to their employees. And we also do, pomodoro sauces, which like from our tomatoes. But aside from that, another woman that I need to mention aside from agriculture is just like, I am a woman farmer, and I'm a woman like empowering more women farmers. But the most beautiful, I guess, if you also find friends who are artisans who can just design stuff. So this one, actually, the basket here on the left are from our women farmers in Camarines Norte. They sent all their baskets for us to use for our veggie and fruit packs. And the other one here, the other picture is Zara Juan, my favorite designer. She's a good friend. So she has these pineapple bags, and we partner in selling the pineapples. And we sold a lot, hundreds and hundreds of pineapples, and we sold her bags also in just 3 days. So much help from these women. Aside from all the programs that we're actually doing in Manila, we're also doing programs in Marinduque Island. So we have this community food garden contest. And right now we have 20 households and communities actually participating in this contest to grow their own food. We launched also a Grow My Own Food program in Bohol with the province of Bohol. And most of the participants are also women. I think, in the farming communities, when you don't have money, si nanay talaga yung lumalabas ng bahay at naghanap ng paraan para mapakain yung mga anak. It's always the women going out and look for money and look for resources. We also have Project Buhay in Siargao. We encourage all barangays to actually grow their own food. And right now we have 81 barangays participating in this. So we provided them with seed packs in partnership with the Department of Agriculture. And right now, look at this picture on the right side. This land is vacant before, and now it's so beautiful. They make it into their garden. And another one is this grow kits, something that we're working on with different organizations and companies in Manila. So we actually have an order of more than 1,200 grow kits now. We make it funny. So a grow kit actually has, this palette which you can use for your sibling And we have a soilless potting mix. It means it has no soil. It is based with coconut acquire, because we're helping the farmers in Lukban, Quezon for their coconut. And it has a lot of seeds inside and a lot of seedlings inside, and also some basic and a manual on how to start a farm. So this one, a lot of companies right now are ordering from us for their CSR. So you can choose if you want to plant the sinigang mixes kind of vegetables. You have the fanigang, all like you can have the kangkong in there, the radish in there. If you want to go for ang pinaka-bet mo, pinakbet. So, you can also choose for pinakbet. It has kamatis, it has talong seedlings that you can plant around your house. This is very conducive for communities with a little space. This is actually completed with a space of 5 square meters to 20 square meters. A space outside your house. So if you want to plant herbs, we have superbs and flower power. These are edible flowers. We teach them how to plant edible flowers that they can actually put in their cooking. And you have this leafy La Vida Loca. It's leafy vegetables and salad greens, because most people living in urban setting are in areas are actually looking for this. This one, most of banks are asking us for grow kits, because they conducted a survey to their employees who are working from home. Most of the women right now are experiencing mental and physical fatigue. Why mental and physical fatigue? Not much on men, mostly women. It's because they don't know the delineation anymore of being an employee, of being a mother, or being a cook. A nanay, an empleyado, at saka a teacher ng nag-homeschool na bata. So they have mental and physical fatigue, and most of the CSR programs of some of their companies are actually into growing their food around, because this is one suggestions of women. What do you want to do? They want to be plantita, they want to grow their own food. Yeah, that's my picture, and my little girl, anak ng yaya ko sa bahay, was always being with me. This is in the rooftop of our building where I live in Salcedo. We grow our food. We have a lot of pechay, a lot of basil, rosemary, and this one kangkong. My goodness, we've been harvesting like almost 5 kilos of kangkong already in just like 3 pots for the last 3 months. And so that's actually the end of my presentation. This one slide is something I want us to actually be inspired. Most things except agriculture can wait. So hopefully, Zonta ladies, in your programs, because I know how you are so good in service and advocacy. Hopefully, this is something that we can work together in your communities. Let me know after this talk. I want it to be very impactful, and I also want to be very helpful. If you have communities that are needing our help, just let us know. We're more than happy to support, and we're more than happy to collaborate with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cherrie, for that very inspiring talk. Now, we shall now proceed to the Q&A portion of our program, and I would like to call on past Vice President Melissa Romualdez, who will be acting as moderator today. Melissa?
Thank you, Joanne, and congratulations again, Cherrie.
Thank you.
Giving such an inspiring and informative talk. Prior to this, we had no idea what the situation was like in the farms, and I think it's precisely forums like this, where you're in a women's organization who promotes women empowerment. It's very, very important that you have done this, you've talked to us and given us your presentation. So we know what the issues that the farmers are facing and food production is facing in our country, and also what the solutions are. And I'm very, if you take a moment after this to take a look at the chat box, it's so full. It's so full. It's like you've inspired all of us, and people have been saying congratulations. Some people actually, our president wants to know where we can get those grow kits. And some of the other ladies here want to visit some of your farms. We have a lady who is also from Marinduque who wants to visit the farm and also share what it is that you've had shown to us to their communities. But so anyway, we will go into that one by one. At this point, I would like to just mention to everybody that I've seen that the chat box is so full. I see that a lot of you really know how to use the chat box, so no worries there. But in case we have a little more time after this, after I've gone through the chat box, if anybody else may still want to ask questions, please raise your hand. If you cannot enter the chat box, or there's a way also to raise a question. So maybe we can get started. I think from the other things that we've been seeing on the there's a question here from Gina Heraldes. She's asking, has the agrarian reform improved the lot of our farmers? And Gina Heraldes is president of one of the Zonta clubs. She's also a lawyer from Accra. So she's asking on the legal point, from the legal perspective, how agrarian reform, has it improved the lot of our farmers?
Oh, wow, what a beautiful question. You know, I was a consultant of the Department of Agrarian Reform for 6 years before I started Agrea, you know, as part of my part-time job. Coming from a sugarcane perspective, you know, there's pros and cons, right? Of course, it's good to give the farmers land that they take ownership. I think having ownership is like the main goal and objective of the agrarian. However, we crippled our farmers at the same time because giving them land without giving them support is like, you know, is the most unsustainable formula, I must say. Why is that so? Because, you know, when the land was given chopped into half hectare to 1 hectare to a farmer without support on financial, the farmers, for example, in Negros, you know, I could speak in the sugarcane field. It's good to have your land, but at the same time, it needs to be coupled with support services. So because it will never be sustainable, so and it will just break the agriculture sector in terms of like building an industry, for example. But aside from that, a lot of our farmers are actually not designed to manage an agribusiness. So most of them are still dependent to their amo or hashindero, and they still give back the land as, you know, they lease the land for more productivity. But for me, wow, it's a long battle by the Department of Agriculture, and especially that the Department of Agriculture and agrarian reform, I mean, the Department of Agriculture and Agrarian Reform, they must work in one hand together, because, you know, when the agrarian reform chops the land, DA should actually handle on how to support the farmers, but somehow that's very broken in our country. So far, it's a cry in on how we actually crippled more of our smallholder farmers. So in Agria, what we're trying to do to support that, if the government cannot do it, we are actually working on consolidating the farmers again. So in our model, we work on not on individual farmers. It takes us 2.5 years to really perfect on how to consolidate the farmers and making them into farming co-op or association, so that they can get support from the government, because and they can get financial support from the bank. If you have 1 hectare of land, no bank will accept you. 1 hectare is not enough collateral for you to borrow money. So what we're trying to do is we consolidate them again and have them like set of officers so that they can avail all the support from the government, but at the same time to actually have economies of scale. Because if there's no economies of scale, you know, production and agribusiness is nothing. So yeah, it's a long way to go for the agrarian reform to actually fix what they've started. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Cherrie. Let's move on next to how this pandemic has affected the distribution of the farmers' produce. And this is a question from Mildred Vicancol, another Zonta Club Makati president. She was asking, since a lot of the restaurants are closed now, hotels and everything, how, particularly in Siargao, how uh, how how are they going about distribution? Is it through people like yourselves, mostly private sector, or is there
Yeah.
anything else? What kind of
Um,
support they
yeah,
get?
in Siargao setting, usually through us because we have like around 800 women farmers there, and we also have our own farms in Siargao. But in Manila, it's a battle cry. The first week of the lockdown, I was in the fields helping farmers. We've been sourcing. I launched Move Food Initiative 2 days after the lockdown. We're all locked in our homes, and there's panic buying. Shelves are empty, and checkpoints are all over the place. Food cannot come in Manila, and there are people who are starving. And you have farmers with so much goods in their fields, and they're just rotting. It wasn't easy. First, when we were on the fields, you need to go through, my goodness, like a dozen of checkpoints, and a lot of the produce are rotting in their fields, because rotting on the streets, because in the first place, logistics is not available. If you have trucks, no one will drive the truck kasi takot there's like this stigma of virus. Um, mako-COVID ako. And then a lot of our farmers, they don't really have access to logistics. And a lot of them are also victimized by traders. Mas lalong dumadami yung traders because wala na silang mapuntahan, so the traders are buying the produce from them at a very cheap price. Makita mo like I was calling a farmer in Mindanao, in South Cotabato. Their squash is only 1 peso per kilo. And it's nothing. You planted it for like 5 months and it's only piso na lang kada kilo. So we offered, can we buy it 10 pesos instead? And then I'll pay for the shipment from Jensan to Manila and sell it in Manila. And I call some titas in Forbes and Dasma. Tita, bilhin nyo naman ito, donate natin sa mga paligid ninyo, no? And it's really sad. We went to Benguet. I was on the road for the last 3.5 months. We went to Benguet. You see farmers, tinatapon na lang yung mga carrots and kamatis on the street because it will be more costly for them to bring it here than, kaysa itapon na lang. However, I must actually commend our current Department of Agriculture Secretary William Dar. He's really doing his great job. Amazing. So far, with the Kadiwa, Ani at Kita, they help on how they deployed a lot of refrigerated trucks for farmers to load their produce for free, to reach it in Manila and to reach it in our villages. They set up village stores to actually sell this produce. Pero sobrang hirap. Like for example, the farmer cooperative that we work in Cordillera, they have 4,000 members. They produce actually 800,000 to 1 million kilos of produce. Total co-op in a day. Alam nyo, only 10% of that is carried to the market. 90% are rotting. And that's the only source of income. And aside from that, they couldn't farm because there's nowhere to buy the seeds. There's nowhere to buy other planting inputs. So we will be starving in the next 6 months. I'm just seriously saying this because Philippines alone, 2 months only of rice is available. And wala na. So mahirap. It's not easy. But I must also talk about the fishermen. We're helping now some fishermen in Sorsogon to bring their produce here in Manila. Mas mahirap pa sila kaysa magsasaka kasi nabagyuhan pa sila during the pandemic. So wala talaga. So, they don't have food on their table, most of them, and it's so sad. So we have programs actually on how to encourage that. These farmers will also be given enough support by the government.
Again, these things none of us knew. Most of us did not know the plight of farmers. They have all the food, and people here don't have the food. And it seems to me that the biggest problem is not the food production, but it seems like it's logistics, and maybe also government support, because I think maybe it's something that is not a pandemic like this is the first time we've ever experienced So maybe they're caught unaware, and all the policies that the government has been doing to try to contain the virus has actually hurt our food producers. And I mean, I think it seems like that's the message we're getting from your talk. Hey, Cherrie, you there? Is Cherrie guys?
Yeah,
Can you hear
sorry.
me?
I think she froze. Her internet,
Uh,
hold on. There. Okay, she got disconnected. So let's just wait for her to come back in.
but I think I speak for everyone being on the chat box. I think this has been really an eye opener, and people are really not just happy to know about what Cherrie's initiatives are, but I think it's also that there's a lot of work to be done. But this is a start. Bring it this to our consciousness, and letting people know that these are the concerns, these are the issues, and a lone voice in the person of Cherrie Atilano and her Agrea Foundation is really leading the way. It shows that women can really be um, part of the solution. Perhaps they are part of the solution, and that we should be investing in women and farming, uh, women farmers rather.
Yeah. She's not yet in. So
Well, in the meantime, while waiting for her to come back in, I'm wondering among all the Zontians if perhaps after what we've, taking in what we've learned, if we can find a way to include women farming as a means towards empowering women in our future projects. Because I think now that COVID is a part of our lives, we really have to adjust the avenues that we pick, in empowering women. So it's something to think about. And I think our our able member Vicky Winnicki would be in a position to also help promote such type of agriculture in the urban setting.
In case you cannot come back, what do you suggest we do, Tita Livy?
I think we just go ahead. I mean, it's already past
So like
6 o'clock anyway,
yeah.
so it's about time we really finish the part one. So we can just send her the questions. I have some
Cherry's
questions
there
myself for
already.
her.
Hold on.
Is she there
Cherry's
now?
there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can hear.
Kindly,
I got
Okay,
cut off.
there. Yeah. Okay.
I think in the interest of time, we need to. Cherrie, are you back?
Yes.
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 I got muted.
Yeah. I
Good.
think
Yes, yeah.
our program though is about to. We will have to cut off the Q&A, although it's very interesting. And we just want to thank you, Cherrie, again for your presentation and also for this enlightening Q&A portion. Due to the interest of time, we will have to move on. If anybody else has any questions, kindly send us an email. Send your questions through email at makatizontian@gmail.com. And we will forward these to Cherrie and hopefully get back to you right away. So thank you very much. And now we move back to you, Joanne.
Thank you, Melissa. And now to present a special commemorative plate to Cherrie is our club president, Ms. Vivian Uy.
Wow, that was so enlightening. We are all in awe. Anyway, on behalf of our club's officers, directors, members, I would like to thank you so much for agreeing to share your time and knowledge with us. The slide, please. Please accept this limited edition Sanso plate as a token of our appreciation. Sorry, it's not coming on. Just a minute.
Went on already. I put Cherry on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity of inviting me. And, you know, if you have more questions, just let me know. I'm sorry I get cut off. But it's such a pleasure to actually talk to all of you because I know you're all leaders on your areas and you are empowering more women in the process. And hopefully we can work together. So
Yes.
I will just keep in touch. Some people in the chat, I couldn't read all the chats because there's like a lot. Thank you for all your congratulations and commendation to our work. You're asking how we can work together. Maybe Tita Olive can share to you my contact and yeah, happy to collaborate. Maraming salamat po.
Happy to do that, Cherrie. Thank you very much. There's a text message that I received or a phone call that I received just a few minutes ago saying that if you are free this afternoon, the rest of the evening, if you'd like to join the second part of the meeting, you're certainly welcome, Cherrie.
Oh, wow.
It's open to you, special. Kung gusto mo lang, if only if you have time. Otherwise, then we'll get in touch with you again.
Yeah, just given that I have another Zoom call at 6:30.
Okay. Wow, tamang-tama.
Yeah, tamang-tama. Yeah,
Okay.
with the Swedish Institute naman, my alumni in Sweden. So I have
Thank you so much.
Thank you po.